Then why do you treat me like dirt?
Because you let me.
My favorite characters and shows are the ones that start off unlikable. I know that sounds weird, but I love watching the journey of a character go from being someone we hate to being someone we root for. And although I know Degrassi is far from what people would call a masterpiece in television, one of my favorite aspects of this show was watching the growth of Holly J. Sinclair. On Degrassi, I don't think they do as great of a job at redeeming all the characters, especially the mean to good type of characters. But Holly J, man, this character really feels like she grows and develops so much throughout the show, and that's what makes me so intrigued by her character. Hopefully, if you're on the fence about this, you'll be convinced by the end of this video. So join me as we watch this character mature, become more sympathetic, and just a better person overall. After a fire burns down Lakehurst, the students from that school start attending Degrassi, and Holly J's first appearance definitely leaves an impression. Immediately, Holly J stands out as being the mean girl, having to make a statement about Darcy's beliefs and her extension.
Gotta get your Bible on.
It's just her never-ending search for eternal happiness.
Has she checked under her extensions?
And then having to assert her dominance when Darcy says this.
No, but there it is behind your gigantic rump.
Is that supposed to be a bad thing, Darcy? Darcy is then called into the principal's office, and this is where we get another line from Holly J.
But you seem like such a good girl.
Holly J wants to be on top, she wants to be worshipped by everyone around her, and she also wants to be on the cheer squad, which doesn't work out so easily as she would like. You can tell that Holly J is offended for being called out and has to one-up Darcy, even when she's the one that might be at fault.
Holly, try to keep up. It's Holly J, and I'm trying. It's just hard to memorize mediocrity.
Anya's got the cheer down without a problem. When Manny and Damien start joking around about the reason they broke up, Holly J isn't so quick to think it's a joke.
It's because I'm black, isn't it?
Well, now that you mention it.
Rumor has it you're a racist. Sorry, Manny, but most of us understand that racism is a very serious issue.
When confronted in the gym about it, Manny proves her innocence and Holly J just looks like a troublemaker for no reason. It's like, does she even care about the race thing, or is she just using that in her favor to look better? It's hard to tell. Holly J also has this ongoing frenemy-ship with Mia, which is entertaining to see, the back and forth between these two. Holly J hates the idea of sharing a locker with Mia, and it's evident by her reactions to Mia having baby toys in her locker, because, you know, she has a kid. When Mia develops an immediate crush on Sav, it's evident that Holly J is also attracted to him.
Sav, hi. You look hot even in these disgusting hallways.
And is slightly insecure when Sav says that he recognizes Mia.
Yeah, you had a baby. That her? Cute. All right.
So of course Holly J has to say something that she thinks will make Mia look unattractive to Sav.
You probably remember her waddling from class to class.
You can also see that Holly J is listening in the background to Mia and Manny's conversation about Sav, waiting for an opportunity to jump in.
Many have tried, none have succeeded. Especially ones with baby weight.
As in Heather Sinclair?
She's my sister.
I love how Degrassi connected Holly J to the infamous Heather Sinclair that we never got a look of, but are very well aware exists based on multiple comments made about her during the show. Heather was also assumed to be a mean girl and a rival to Paige of some sort. It seemed like most of the Degrassi characters didn't really like Heather Sinclair, so I thought it was a clever way to connect the character to an existing one that we didn't see but also know, while also allowing Holly J to be a new mean girl that we will focus on. I would have liked to see more of how Holly J is affected by her relationship to Heather, but I still think it's kind of cool that they connected a character to a more gag character. When Mia has to debate Holly J on foreign adoption, we get some funny exchanges between the two.
Just because I don't have a child,
Does the speaker realize that her spray tan is running?
my worthy opponent is biased due to her matronly obligations and cankles.
Well, then maybe we should debate testing for psychosis in herpes-infected teens.
It's very clear how much Holly J hates the fact that Mia is a teen mom.
She's a mom. Isn't doing the splits what got her into this whole mess in the first place?
Even after the debate, Holly J can't stop making comments.
So, search for stepdaddy continues, huh?
When Anya compliments Mia's jeans, Holly J also compliments them until realizing that Anya had complimented her jeans and then pivots to an insult.
Scooch Mama Mia, was Anya bothering you?
She was just waiting for her boss to arrive.
Ooh, little old me? I'm flattered. Love the jeans, by the way. Yeah, they really highlight your cellulite.
It's hard to tell whether Holly J was setting up this insult from the beginning, or she only decided to change her mind and insult Mia once she'd realized that she might have stolen Anya's compliment. So she changes it up to an insult to one-up Mia in front of Anya. It could possibly be interpreted either way because Holly J has been so mean to Mia up until this point. When Holly J asks Anya to back her up, Anya immediately gives in to Holly J's insult.
They might be a bit tight. Anya, we're going.
Clearly, Anya has no other friends besides Holly J and is worried that she will upset her if she doesn't agree with what she says. Holly J also likes to test Anya's loyalty a lot. In class, Holly J starts causing trouble again, making fun of Derek.
There's something on your face.
What is it?
And gets Anya into trouble for laughing. And when she has trouble reading the textbook, Holly J does this.
Come on, Anya, clap it out. You've only read the chapter 10 times. With her dyslexia, we'll be here until Labor Day.
When Mia defends Anya and asks her to work on the project, Holly J is clearly offended by the fact that Anya even entertained the thought.
Excuse me? We're always partners.
And when Anya gets angry with Holly J for outing her as dyslexic, Holly J says this.
What? Everyone already knows you're dyslexic. Don't be so touchy. You're right, Holly J.
From Holly J's face, we know that she views this like a game that she can win. She loves getting the one-up on Mia specifically, and whenever she does, she can't help but brag about it with her facial expressions, because being the most popular and adored is what she wants. Although she knows that most people don't like her or are afraid of her, Holly J gets the idea to use her sister's paper and plagiarize, but Anya doesn't think it's a good idea. Holly J uses this as an excuse to cheat.
Hey, if Mr. Vince is too lazy to put the effort into changing the project, then why should we put the effort into doing it?
Mr. Drabick cheating by handing out the same assignment every year.
And when Anya stands up for herself, Holly J immediately takes offense to Anya having any power or authority in their friendship.
Don't make fun of me in class. I don't tell people that your parents got you a private tutor.
Especially using the fact that she had a private tutor against her. And that's when Holly J tests Anya again.
Hey, Rochelle, you wanna have lunch?
Okay, I'll do it.
See? You're not that dumb.
In class, Holly J sees Mia complimenting Anya's earrings, and you can immediately see how insecure Holly J is by this. Even though Holly J acts like she'll be fine without Anya, she really wouldn't be. Anya is her only friend, really, and she hates the fact that Mia, of all people, might steal her away, and she's even more afraid of being out of control and powerless, especially when it comes to relationships she makes with others. So Holly J uses this as an opportunity to embarrass Anya.
That assignment Anya just handed in, it's plagiarized. Somehow she got her hands on my sister Heather's old project, but I never thought she'd hand it in.
Holly J is clearly insecure with herself and her friendship with Anya, but she also takes her friendship with Anya for granted because she knows Anya won't do anything about it. Will Anya still be friends with her after getting her in trouble for cheating, or will she cut Holly J off?
At least now you'll have your independence from the evil Holly J.
The evil Holly J. Untrue, but it has a nice ring to it.
So I'm free to be alone, like you, on a Friday night. I'd rather take a 0 on my assignment.
Holly J catches Mia and Sav together, and she clearly knows that Sav has a thing for Anya, but isn't transparent with Mia because she partly enjoys seeing Mia getting embarrassed. But at the same time, it seems like she was trying to warn her in her own sick and twisted type of way.
Won't be his last today.
And we actually get a sort of nice scene between Holly J and Mia at the end.
I tried to warn you. I hate to have something in common with you, but you and I, we need men, not boys.
There's also this interesting subplot between Holly J and Toby that I forgot about. Holly J needs help with tutoring and asks Toby, but in exchange she has to help him with Dance Dance Revolution of all things. This plotline really shows us how Holly J cares about what people think about her, and that she basically has to fake it till she makes it, and that she actually does feel like she's in her sister's shadow.
10 years of jazz and 5 years of tap taught me to save your smiles for when they count. When Heather was here, she was smart and popular and...
I think Holly J struggles with her identity so much because she wants to be so much like Heather, and she doesn't see that her actions eventually start to push people away. When Anya and the others catch her talking with Toby, she acts like they weren't having a nice conversation.
Looks like you'll be failing PE, Toad. Well, excuse me for having a reputation to protect. I need to be Holly J Sinclair for my friends.
I think if you drop the bitch act, they'd actually like you. I might.
We also see how Holly J does put herself out there, and when she gets rejected, she reverts back to her old behavior.
Well, I changed my mind. Lowered my standards. Because I like you. If people see you with me, they'll worship you.
Look, you had your shot with me, and you blew it.
We need to talk about this disturbing new dependence on boys.
When Anya organizes a 24-hour fast, Holly J is acting spoiled and privileged and quick to complain about it.
Newsflash, Anya, we're not in Africa or wherever. Boiling clean water is a waste of time.
When Sav tries to get along with Holly J for Anya, Holly J uses this as an opportunity to get a secret out of Sav. You see how Holly J earns Sav's trust with her fake kindness, and then Sav tells Holly J about his future plans to be in an arranged marriage, obviously as a way to cause trouble and break them up. Because Holly J doesn't like that Anya has someone else to give her attention to, she has no trouble breaking them up. She also really hates the fact that Anya was able to get a boyfriend before she was, and she also might like Sav a little, which might also be it, but that's less clear at this point. You can see how much she gets out of having this secret and how much power she has that she could possibly break them up, and she loves it.
I mean, you know me. Right, secrets go in the vault, but I am your loyal friend, and I could make an exception.
When Anya finds out what Holly J was planning, she wants to get revenge, and she does a pretty good fucking job at it, honestly. Convincing Holly J to eat a cookie while being secretly recorded so she can reveal it to everyone on camera. And obviously Holly J is really thrown off by Anya choosing to do this to her.
You did this? You have one chance to apologize to me in front of the entire school for your little stunt. Listen very carefully, Anya. You do not want Holly J Sinclair as an enemy.
Well, she certainly hasn't been a friend.
Even though Holly J doesn't care about the fast at all, she wants people to think that she cares about it because she wants people to think she's a good person. When Anya refuses to apologize, Holly J swears to get back at her, and she does by ordering pizza 4 hours before the fast is over, making Anya look incompetent as a leader. This next moment between Anya and Holly J really reveals a lot about Holly J. After all the trouble she caused Anya, she still expects her to be her friend, just by the way she approaches her.
Anya. You still raise tons of money. I heard Craig say you did a good job, and the poor will still sing songs about you.
And when Anya is visibly upset, she expresses that to Holly J.
I didn't know you felt bad.
Well, I do, all the time, and it's because of you. You can't stand to see me happy. Why do you hate me so much?
I don't. You're my best friend.
And we can see that Holly J does genuinely feel bad by her expression on her face, but she still hides it behind her pride. When Anya asks why she's so mean to her, and Holly J responds like this.
Because you let me.
Instead of saying sorry, she blames her behavior on Anya. It's your fault that I was so mean to you, because you let me. Holly J tries to talk to Anya again later, expecting her to be over what happened, and Anya is really fed up with Holly J this time, and refuses to be friends with her.
New day, new week, new Holly J.
Leave me alone.
Okay, we've had fights before, but we always make up.
She even calls her Holly. That's how you know it's serious.
Stop helping, Holly.
It's Holly J.
Holly J was expecting Anya to forgive easily since they both got back at each other, but she never expected Anya would leave her, and this line really shows that. When all is said and done, Holly J is afraid of being alone, and her mean girl persona really shows that.
You only make messes of lives, and yesterday's the last time I'll ever let you make a mess of mine.
Okay, without you, I have no friends, you know that.
You did this to yourself.
Get over yourself.
What makes a character really interesting, especially if we want to see a redemption, is seeing them at their lowest point and picking themselves back up. And I think that the show does this naturally for Holly J as a character as the show goes forward. In season 8, Anya and Holly J are on speaking terms, but it wasn't like it was where Anya followed Holly J around and didn't stand up for herself. Their friend dynamic takes a shift from here onward. Holly J is now a junior and she is the captain of the power squad. She is also not as mean as she was in season 7. I mean, she has her moments in this season, don't get me wrong, but I definitely think it's a little mellowed out.
I don't know much about football, hun, but you should be bigger on top.
When the guys on the team start bullying Jane, Holly J is also clearly disgusted by this, and even though she has her one-liners here and there.
Playing on the boys' team but changing with the girls? Sounds like the dream of a budding lesbian. Starting with sex toys early, little Edwards? What would Jesus say?
That masturbation is normal and no one should be embarrassed about it. And if you tried it once in a while, maybe you wouldn't be so mean.
She isn't as cruel as she was in season 7.
I don't know what's worse, this shirt or Derek shirtless.
Holly J even seems to be impressed by Mia's new modeling job, even though she is jealous of Mia when she makes comments about her being a teen mom.
Okay, we've done this dance before. You make the team and then you abandon us as soon as the kid needs a cookie.
And I think it's because she secretly is impressed by how much Mia is able to achieve, even with having a child so young. And part of her is bothered by this because she hasn't received the same type of praise that Mia gets. We also know that Holly J is jealous of Anya's relationship with Sav, and this insecurity comes up again when all the girls are talking about how Sav and Anya are having sex, and she worries that she's the only virgin on the squad.
Anya's finally swiped her V card.
Says who?
Everyone, the power squad might finally be virgin free.
Not a chance.
Unless you're one.
I'm captain of the power squad.
I love how Mia can see through this too. And you can also see that Mia cares for Holly J, even though she's been really horrible to Mia at points.
Being a virgin is nothing to be ashamed of. Well, try being the only one on the power squad. Unlike you, I've heard of a condom, which won't protect you from getting hurt. Trust me.
And I think that's what makes the friendship so interesting to me, because you do see how they mutually respect each other, but it's hidden underneath this rivalry they have. There's a really nice moment where Mia, of all the girls, goes to comfort Holly J, and it's really nice of a moment.
Don't tell me you slept with him.
Don't worry. I threw myself at him and he just turned away. Tell anyone
And you'll destroy me. I know.
In a hurry to lose her virginity, she goes through a list for the most suitable guy. This is the introduction to Blue, probably the most boring plank of wood on this show. Holly J and Blue become partners, and when they're alone, she tries seducing him, but he rejects her and she leaves embarrassed. It's clear that she's inexperienced, but she wants to appear like she is. She also wants to lose her virginity to be able to say that she did, and doesn't really value what that means or consider Blue's feelings at all. It kind of shows how inexperienced she is when it comes to guys, especially if it's her first time. She should value it more. Holly J, who has clearly been privileged most of her life, soon has to live with a budget, without credit cards, not having her car, and also being able to afford a cheerleading trip that's $350, or a date with Blue to a concert that's another $150.
Your father expects me to get a job. What could I possibly do after all these years?
Oh, boo-hoo. Let me play a sad song for you on the world's smallest violin.
Of course, she's embarrassed and does her best to hide the fact that she isn't broke, breaking her plans with Blue, and this makes her bitter towards Mia. She applies for a job at the Dot, and Spinner gives her a chance, but she gets upset with Derek for acting like a little shit and dumps a drink on him and gets fired for it. After Leia tells her that Mia slept with a football star to get her job, Holly J reports this on local television where everyone sees.
All I know is that people are saying that Mia likes to hang out at wild sex parties. I guess if you have a kid at 13, sleeping around to get a job isn't really a big deal. Seems sad for someone to go so far for a little fame.
Mia Jones, another young girl poised on the brink of celebrity.
And because of how mean she was thrown off the squad, and Blue doesn't want anything to do with her either.
You're the kind of girl who expects everything handed to her on a silver platter. And I'm not interested in a girl like that.
Everything she did to keep her situation hidden, and she ended up losing everything she wanted anyway.
You guys have no idea what's going on with me. You can't do this. Good luck winning anything in Florida without me.
She goes back to the Dot and asks for her job back, and we get a nice moment between her and Spinner, where she is able to tell the truth about her family situation for once.
Daddy is broke. I got kicked off the power squad. I told a reporter some bad thoughts about Mia. I don't even know why I did it, really.
I do. I stole my best friend's MP3 player once.
Life is so unfair.
You got both parents?
Yeah.
My dad died on me.
I'm sorry.
Thanks. You have ball cancer?
Of course not.
Well, I did. And if I could get through all that, you can get through this.
Spinner gives her the job back, and this is really where we start to see Holly J's slow transition as a character.
What can I get you? And it better not just be 2 waters.
She starts to learn what it's like to struggle and how her actions affect other people. She basically lost the respect of everybody she knows. She's off the squad. And this gives us the opportunity to learn more about her in a different way. And that's what the show ends up doing. After being kicked off the power squad, we can see that Holly J is really bothered by this as she watches them practice from afar. And this catches the attention of Allie. And of course she has to make a comment about it, which she really shouldn't have.
Someone's bitter about being kicked off Power Squad.
Someone should shut her niner mouth.
Maybe you can use your new free time to find true love.
Do you really think I need a reason to be mean to you?
Allie bringing up Holly J's love life really triggered her, and this is where she goes to do what she does best and cause trouble.
Heard you and backwoods are an item.
Ooh, isn't that illegal?
I'm a senior. Seriously think I'm going to date a niner.
And we'll revisit everything wrong with what Bruce and Johnny just said in another video, but for now, we see how Holly J feels vindicated that she got the upper hand on Allie. Even though it doesn't really mean much in the grand scheme of things, we know that Holly J has lost everything basically, so just getting back at Allie like this makes her feel a little bit better. Allie wants revenge for this and starts an I Hate Holly J page where people comment about how much they want her dead and want to hurt her. And I know Holly J's a bitch, but seriously, I was seeing comments saying this behavior by Allie and everyone was justified, and I'm sitting there like, this girl was on the verge of like killing herself because of what they were saying. No matter how mean someone is, cyberbullying is just another level, and this quickly starts to bother Holly J when everyone is on board with it.
I hate Holly J. I hate Holly J. I hate Holly J. Holly J. I hate Holly J.
Like I care what you losers think. like they say, small things amuse small minds.
When Allie gets charges pressed against her, she goes over to Holly J's house to complain, of all things. And this reaction from her to Anya is just really sad.
Anya, I didn't think you'd come after, and I saw your name on the group. I couldn't believe it. I wanted to ruin your life. I'd create an I Hate Allie group. Get 400 people to join and talk about how much they hate you and that they want you dead.
You can see how drained and depressed she looks, and nothing is worth putting someone through that amount of emotional pain. And what Allie did was beyond fucked up. After this, Anya and Holly J seem to be on better terms, and I think Anya seeing how deeply affected Holly J was by all of this is probably what made her want to be friends with her again. There's also a nice subplot where Holly J learns more about herself during an art class, when she doesn't really make an art piece that reflects herself and it's more just by the book. She gets a lower grade and gets upset about this.
Solid approach. Telling students they can't do it when you're some failed artist who resorted to teaching because no one would buy your work. If you can't do, teach, right?
She ends up creating the art piece that is more original and reflects herself, and apologizes for what she said to Miss Dawes. And we see Holly J reflecting on her actions more and realizing how mean she was.
How are you feeling right now?
Like a disaster.
Go with that.
I'm sorry for the way I acted. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Because sometimes
When Holly J and Spinner are held at gunpoint, this is where we see Holly J get honest about her feelings for Spinner, and he's the only one that really validated her during everything she's gone through. And she even has sympathy for the gunman because she's had a chance to self-reflect on her own behaviors and how they've affected others, being able to be more sympathetic. And I think this is such growth from the character even just a season ago.
it was an accident. You shooting Spin, we'll tell them that.
Every single thing I do goes so wrong.
I know what that's like.
I remember you, Holly J, with the fancy house and the big car and the rich snob.
Not anymore. I get kicked off the squad. My dad lost all his money, and I'm in love with that idiot hero guy back there.
When Holly J goes to the dance, she gets an applause from everyone cheering for her for being a hero. And I really love this scene for Holly J, who has made mistakes and been at the bottom and was able to regain everyone's respect after everything. It's just such a good moment for the character. So I really hate season 9 for some reason. Aside from some good moments here and there, I don't like this season that much for many reasons, and I might get into that another time. However, as far as Holly J goes, she and her relationship with Blue doesn't last long. She just ends up getting really annoyed with him and they end up breaking up. And I find the way they broke up really hilarious because of how Holly J is so unaffected by it. She's more offended by the fact that he didn't call her Holly J.
Finally.
It's Holly freaking J.
Holly J and Jane start a babysitting service, which I think compared to the Holly J that reacted to a few baby toys in her locker in season 7, is much more willing to work with children and more understanding. She also develops a crush on Declan after hitting his car, and she eventually finds out that Jane is cheating on Spinner with Declan, and this obviously makes her angry since she cares about Spinner and basically tells her to break it off with Declan before it gets worse. Jane does break it off with Declan, and Holly J agrees to keep her secret from Spinner. I also understand that it isn't her place to tell him. Jane should have told him. And she was just going to keep that secret forever if he didn't find out the way he did. Now I have to talk about Holly J and Declan because there's no way I can avoid it at this point. This couple is cute at times, but I'm honestly leaning towards being against them for a few reasons. First, I think Declan is really creepy the way he comes off. He finds out all this information about Holly J and then he uses a class exercise as a way to show how much he cares about her in a very weird way to me. Next, he locks her in a sound booth, and this also comes off as creepy. I know that this was supposed to be a moment where Declan was supposed to be revealing stuff about himself, but it's just really weird. Again, that isn't to say there aren't some nice moments between them, like when Holly J and Declan are trying to keep Jane from going back to stop Spinner's wedding, but there's something about Declan. Is it just me? Maybe it's just me. I don't know, I just can't get on board with this couple. Declan seems to be a bad influence to a certain degree on Holly J, convincing her to start making out during an award ceremony and getting caught for it. And he tries to buy her love and affection with money and things, and this just comes off as weird and possessive to me. As far as Holly J's growth, I really didn't care for her relationship with Declan, but I don't think it really affects it that much. After getting caught making out, his mother tries to get them to stop seeing each other, and at first Declan agrees with this, but then changes his mind and decides to be with Holly J, so yay. Later on, it's revealed that Declan and Fiona will be transferring, and this upsets Declan, but Holly J and Declan agree to stay in a relationship anyway. Declan sends her mentorship video to an internship in Manhattan for the summer, and this is where we get into Degrassi Takes Manhattan, the worst Degrassi movie. I hate it. And this is where we see how close Fiona is to Declan, who ends up being a barrier in Holly J and Declan's relationship when they want to spend the summer with each other. Fiona continuously intervenes, and this eventually builds to a point where Holly J locks Fiona in a copy room.
This is New York, Holly J, bitch.
And Fiona uses this as a way to make Holly J look bad. Fiona's toxic relationship with Declan gets even worse when she kisses him in front of the paparazzi, and Holly J is just like, I can't take this at this point. Declan eventually yells at Fiona and tells her that he can't be the only person she relies on all the time, and makes up with Holly J. The one good thing about Fiona and Holly J's rivalry, I guess, is that it doesn't last that long. Season 10 starts with Holly J going back home, and she finds out that her parents are selling the house and moving into an apartment. Holly J, who's desperate to get into Yale, knows that she needs things like school president to make her application stand out, so she goes up against Sav and asks Anya to pretend to be pregnant to hurt his chances. But Anya ends up switching sides, of course. Although Holly J tries her best, Sav ends up winning.
He won because you think you're better than everyone.
That's not true. People like me.
Then why didn't they vote for you?
We also see that Fiona goes to Holly J for help, even when they're not necessarily friends yet, like video calling her when she's stressed about Bobby.
Everyone thinks Bobby's so great, like he's the best thing that's ever happened to me.
If you don't, end it. You gonna be okay? If you need me, you know where I am. And take it easy on the dom.
So you ratted me out, but you're my friend.
I am. Maybe this is a cry for help. Either way, she's your sister, and you should be there for her.
Holly J, who needs money for SAT prep, ends up taking from Fiona and betraying her trust.
I'm not taking, just sharing the wealth. It was a mistake. Huge mistake. I'm broke. You don't know what it's like.
Fiona finds out about this, and Holly J clearly feels guilty about what she did. This is when she begs for Fiona's forgiveness, saying this.
Please, Fiona. Look, I know I made a mistake, but you have to forgive me. Because we're both lacking in the friend department, we need each other.
This is far from the Holly J that was afraid to admit she didn't have any friends. More than worrying about what will happen with her relationship with Declan if he finds out about what she did, you can see that she genuinely feels bad about what she did and wants to make it up to Fiona. Fiona is already really clingy with Holly J, and that might be indicating her crush on her, unconsciously even. Holly J suspects Declan is cheating when he doesn't get back to her, but really he was on his way to surprise her with a visit. Declan starts becoming more controlling, and Holly J starts to worry that he's buying her love and helping her too much.
You were prepared to get on a flight yesterday.
When I thought you were cheating on me.
Hey, look, I already booked the flights and the hotel room, so...
Declan, I have my SATs.
Reschedule them.
I also have to help my parents move.
That's boring. I'm already paying for you not to work. I might as well pay for the movers, too.
It's not that easy. I just can't.
Come on, how much will I have to spend for you to do what I ask?
Just drop it prepping.
She eventually breaks it off with him when she can't handle feeling bought.
It makes me feel gross.
Holly J, money exists to solve problems.
Then when Holly J is at her new job, Fiona is there supporting her no matter what. Holly J is shown to be an emotional support to Fiona, encouraging her to fight against Bobby in the trial.
Well, you're gonna watch it again and again until you get it. How can you look at that smug face and not want to fight back? Nobody deserves to get hit. Do you understand me? Nobody. I fished the prescription out of the trash. Got your mom to fill it.
Pretty sneaky.
I have my moments.
Taking care of her after she drinks too much and falls asleep during class. It just shows how she's a really caring person and her constant support for Fiona as a friend. She tells Fiona how it is. She just becomes a really true friend to Fiona, and this is an aspect I always loved about the show, that even if she and Declan aren't together, she's still Fiona's friend no matter what. Even if Fiona wants them to get back together, she never lets that affect her relationship with Holly J, and I really love that. Fiona and Holly J's friendship is so genuine to me because they accept each other through their faults and are there for each other no matter what. Fiona literally buys Holly J's birth mother's prom dress for $20,000 so she can get a new kidney. She was willing to give Holly J her own kidney. If that isn't ride or die friend, I don't know what is. Fiona kisses Holly J and she is so accepting of it. I mean, she's a little shocked, but she's more supportive of the fact that Fiona won her case. After finding out about Fiona's feelings for her, Holly J tries to make things less awkward, and I love that they easily make up and things don't become weird between them like what happens with Zoe and Grace. Holly J is worried about hurting Anya when she and Sav are dating, even though Anya double-crossed her during the class election.
I'm a horrible daughter.
You're not a horrible daughter. A horrible daughter would not bring your mom soup the way that you do. But you might regret it later if you're not there for her now.
I know that dating Sav is a moral gray area considering the fact that he dated Anya, but honestly I don't even care about Sav and Anya, so it doesn't even bother me. We also see more moments of Holly J's kindness when she brings a letter from Fiona's room to Adam, after Fiona gets angry with Adam when he brings her to an intervention. Even though she doesn't really need to do this, it's just a really nice thing that she does for Adam and for Fiona, because she knows that Fiona doesn't want Adam to think that she's angry with him. Holly J's maturity is also really notable in how much she constantly works towards her goals and doesn't let her struggle deter her from her dreams of going to Yale, like getting jobs to financially support herself. I also really appreciate her growth when it comes to how she responds to Allie on multiple occasions. When Allie doesn't know whether to give Drew another chance, Holly J gives Allie advice.
You can't blame Bianca for what happened with Drew. Did she force him into the boiler room? She has a reason to be mad at Drew.
We also see her giving emotional support to Sav about Allie and even defending Allie when Allie goes missing. Even after the history between the characters, it just shows how much she's grown to care about the well-being of others, and she has learned to forgive others for the mistakes they've made in the past, which is something I always appreciated about the show. When Declan comes back, yeah, Declan's back. God, the saga never ends. Oh, I forgot to mention that Holly J starts dating Sav. I'm sure that most of you know that by this point though. Sort of on a casual basis, but again, I really couldn't care less about this relationship. I care even less than I do about Declan, so I think it's mostly because they don't really do anything with the relationship to make me care, and also they make Holly J get with Sav right after she breaks up with Declan, so it makes me just feel like this is less of a real relationship. I think this happened because after the writers broke up Declan and Holly J, they didn't know what to do with her character, and Sav didn't have anything going on either, so let's just pair them up. But Declan comes back and finds out about Sav and Holly J, and Declan swears how he's learned from his mistakes about using money as a solution to their relationship problems. Declan is also trying to get on Sav's good side so he can get alone time with Holly J by distracting him, which is just shady. Holly J makes it clear that she wants to be with Sav, but Declan keeps pushing her boundaries and starts kissing her.
No.
Please, I love you.
Now I know that the show settles on this being consensual because Holly J eventually gives in, but she did say no and he continued until she gave in, and it just feels slimy because the show also wants to give Declan this win with Holly J, her getting into Yale and the fact that they'll be going to the same school. That means there's an open opportunity there for the relationship, but I don't know, I just wish that the show acknowledged more that what Declan did was wrong either way, even if she did eventually consent to it. Later on, Holly J tells Sav that she cheated, and they briefly break up before getting back together before breaking up again, so who cares? Holly J starts to have health problems when she's sleeping more and can't seem to concentrate as much, and because she's so focused on her work and academics, she ignores her symptoms that keep worsening until during a presentation she uncontrollably pees herself. She gets a diagnosis of kidney damage and has to start dialysis. Season 11 continues with Holly J's health struggles, and she needs a kidney transplant, but learns her parents aren't biologically related to her. So she goes to meet her birth mother in hopes of being able to give her a kidney. I like this plotline with Holly J because it allows her to learn more about herself when she meets her birth mother. She learns that she'll need a transplant within the next 12 months and eventually gains the courage to ask Dawn. After finding out she's a match, Dawn asks for $20,000. Considering what she's being asked, how suddenly, and the time that she will have to take off, and also childcare, there's just a lot that goes into this decision, so it's reasonable of an ask. And when Holly J learns that she can't just purchase an organ because of it being illegal, she asks Dawn to donate the organ without it being paid for, but obviously she's going to need time off for recovery, so she really can't do this without getting that money, and Holly J is angry with this at first and takes it out on her, calling her selfish.
I understand that you're so selfish, you'll literally give up a baby without a thought. And then when you can save her life, let her down again. You really shouldn't have children if you're not going to be there for them.
But I do like how Holly J eventually reflects on that behavior and realizes that what she was asking for was selfish.
I shouldn't have ambushed you by asking you for a kidney. And you were reasonable to expect some kind of compensation. You weren't being selfish. I was. I guess I'm just asking for a second chance at a first impression. I feel like that's the secret good part of all of this. Now we can just meet, talk, whatever.
Especially without wanting to know the woman that gave birth to her. Holly J does have some right to be angry with Dawn because this woman did give her up. At the same time, it shows a lot in Holly J's maturity, how she handles the situation with her birth mother that makes me love the character even more.
You were right about Charlie. Always are. I hate how you say that like I do it on purpose. Like I want you to fail.
Holly J is able to have her transplant and attend Yale, and I'm glad this character gets everything that she wants in the end because she works hard for it.
Back at Degrassi. Do you miss it? No. Yale already feels like home.
Holly J, I think, is one of the best developed characters on this show. How she goes from being immature and very unlikable to growing in maturity and becoming a much better friend and person. She's a mean girl that turns into a fully realized, flawed human being that we grow to care for, and I really enjoyed Holly J's journey throughout the show, compared to a lot of other characters. Let me know what you think about Holly J and her character development on the show. I hope you guys enjoyed this analysis, and I'll see you in the next one.